Welcome back to Lucas124. Today, we will be reading something that no one asked to have read. Kidnapped by Robert Louis Stevenson. Printed by S.L. Burt in New York. We start our tale, as this being stated as the memoirs of the adventures of David Balfour in the year 1751. In Chapter 1, he sets off upon his journey to the House of Shaws. I will begin the story of my adventures with a certain morning, early in the month of June, in the year of grace 1751, when I took the key for the last time out of the door of my father's house. The sun began to shine upon the summit of the hills as I went down the road, and by the whistling in the garden lilacs and the mist that hung around the valley in the time of the dawn was beginning to rise and die away. Mr. Campbell, the minister of Essendon, was waiting for me by the garden grate. Good man. He asked me if I had breakfasted, and hearing that I had lacked for nothing, he took my hand in both of his and clapped it kindly under his arm. "Well, Davy, lad," said he, "I will go with you as far as the ford, to set you on your way," as we began to walk forward in silence. "Are you sorry to leave Essendon?" said he, after a while. "Why, sir," said I, "if I knew where I was going, or what was likely to become of me, I would tell you candidly. Essendon is a good place indeed, and I have been very happy there, but then I have never been anywhere else. My father and mother, since they are both dead, I shall never be nearer in Essendon than in the kingdom of Hungary, and to speak the truth, if I thought I had a chance to better myself where I was going, I would go with a good will." "Aye," said Mr. Campbell. "Very well, Davy. Then it behooves me to tell you your fortune, so far as I may. When your mother was gone, and your father, the worthy Christian man, began to sicken for his end, he gave me in charge a certain letter which, he said, was your inheritance. So soon, says he, am I gone, and when the house is redd up, and the gear is disposed of, all of which Davy hath been gone, give my boy this shelter into his hand, and start him off into the House of Shaws, not far from Cremond. That is the place I came from, he said, and it is where it befits that my boy should return. He is a steady lad, your father said, and a canny goer, and I doubt that he will come safe and be well liked where he goes." "The House of Shaws," I cried. "What had my poor father to do with the House of Shaws?" "Nay," said Mr. Campbell, "who can tell for a surety? But the name of the family, Davy boy, is the Balfour name of Shaws, Balfour of Shaws, an ancient, honest, reputable house, peradventure, in these latter days decayed. Your father, too, was a man of learning, as befitted his position. No man more plausibly conducted school, nor had he the manner or the speech of a common Dormidine. But, as ye yourself remember, I took a pleasure to have him in the manse, to meet the gentry, all those of my own house, Campbell of Dinkret, Campbell of Dunshwire, Campbell of Minich, and others, all well-kenned gentlemen, had pleasure in the society. Lastly, to put all the elements of this affair before you, here is the testamentary letter itself, superscribed by the own hand of your departed brother." He gave me the letter, which was addressed in those words, "To the hands of Ebenezer Balfour, Esquire of Shaws. In his House of Shaws there will be delivered my son, David Balfour." My heart was beating hard as this great prospect, now suddenly opening before a lad of 16 years of age, the son of a poor country dominie in the forest of Ederick. "Mr. Campbell," I stammered, "and if you were in my shoes, would you go?" "Of a surety," said the minister, "that would I, and without pause. A pretty lad like you should get to Cremond, which is near in Edinburgh, in 2 days of walk. If worst came to the worst, and your high relations, as I cannot but suppose them to be somewhat of your blood, should put you up to the door, ye can but walk the 2 days back again, and risp at the manse door. but I would rather hope that ye shall be well received, as your poor father forecast for you, and for anything that I can come to be a great man in time. And here, Davy, laddie, he resumed, it lies upon my conscience to improve this parting, and to set you on the right guard against the dangers of the world. Here he cast about for a comfortable seat, laid it on a big boulder under a birch by the trackside, sat down upon it with a very long, super serious upper lip, and, the sun now shining upon us between two peaks, put his pocket handkerchief over his cocked hat to shelter him. There, then, with uplifted forefinger, he first put me on my guard against a considerable number of heresies, of which I had no temptation, and urged upon me to be instant in my prayers and start reading the Bible. That done, he drew a picture of the great house that I was bound to, and how I should conduct myself with its inhabitants. Be supple, Davy, in things immaterial, said he. Bear ye this in mind, that though a gentle born, ye have had a country rearing. Dinna shame us, Davy, dinna shame us. In yon great muckle house, with all these domestics upper and under, show yourself as nice, as circumspect, as quick at the conception, and slow of speech as any. As for the lard, remember he is the lard. I say no more. Honour to whom honour. It is a pleasure to obey a lard, or should be, to the young. Well, sir, said I, it may be, and I'll promise you I'll try to make it so. Why, very well said, replied Mr. Campbell heartily. And now to come to the material, or, to make a quibble, to the immaterial. I have here a little packet, which contains 4 things. He tugged in it as he spoke, and with some difficulty, from the skirt pocket of his coat, of the pickle money for your father's books in plemishing, which I have bought, as I explained from the first, in the design of reselling at a profit to the incoming domain. The other 3 are gifties, that Mrs. Campbell and myself would be up to blithe of your acceptance. The first, which is round, will likely please ye at the best go off all. But oh, Davy, laddie, it is but a drop of water in the sea. It'll help you but a step, and vanish like the morning. The second, which is flat and square, and written upon, will stand by you throughout life, like a good staff for the road, and a good pillow to your head in sickness. And as for the last, which is crucial, that I tell you, is my prayerful wish into a better land. That concludes today's reading of Kidnapped by Robert Louis Stevenson. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike this video, well, you know what to do. Make sure to share, comment, like, and subscribe for more content such as this, and if you don't seem to enjoy this kind of content, better. Thank you, and I will see you next time.